What's up, everyone? Lead meteorologist John Choquet here for our Friday edition of our cast here. Thanks as always to our sponsors, C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor Show. My camera seems to be a little lower than it normally is, so if it looks like I'm looking up above, that's why. So we had a big time event last night, or actually not even last night, it was yesterday afternoon. We had another historic derecho event occur across the northern plains. Places like Iowa, South Dakota, Nebraska, even parts of Minnesota had a pretty intense derecho event. We'll break that down a little bit here in a minute. We actually have storm chances returning to Oklahoma here for today, and so I get for not looking at this beforehand. Storms are possible across central Oklahoma later on. We actually have some storms happening right now in areas just south of I-44, and there's also a chance for some storms in other areas today too. We'll break that down. And we have a bunch of popcorn storms basically tomorrow, so it's going to be hot and humid across a lot of the country, and with that, the chance for a couple storms to bubble up here and there across the country. So very big risk, but it's going to be pretty isolated. We'll break that down for you in a minute. So we only have one upcoming event here since we have an event happening right now. We got the calm before the storm, a golf tournament. This is with C3 Group here on Lakewood, Colorado on May 19th at the Fox Hollow Golf Course. Come check us out. Hopefully, if you guys come play some golf, we can get some golf balls in Denver. I mean, Lord knows we haven't had any hail in Denver here in a little bit, so maybe this is the good juju we need to have some big storms in Colorado later on this spring here as spring season, hopefully, cross our fingers, lights up here across Colorado. But with that, we now go into our storm reports from yesterday, and we had a ton. Look at all these wind reports here, guys. So we had a lot of hail happen yesterday. A lot of that was early in the day, but the main focus is all of this wind. It was actually two separate what we call MCVs or derecho events with hurricane force winds. We actually had the second highest amount of hurricane force wind gusts from, not hurricanes, but from thunderstorms in a day yesterday here across South Dakota, where Sioux Falls especially got impacted with winds in excess of 80 miles an hour. We had the highest, I think, was 107 mile per hour wind gusts, which is incredible for a storm system here. And this did a broad amount of damage, very intense winds. You might have seen some pictures and videos posted of a big haboob, which is a ton of dust being shot out in front of this derecho event. So pretty impressive. This map's available as a 3-star map. Available for purchase, especially in sections of Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. Crazy stuff that happened there, and with that we also had a 3-star hailstorm that occurred. This was actually in the morning hours yesterday across the St. Cloud area. St. Cloud, St. Joseph, Rush City, Minnesota. 3-inch size hail was the biggest hail we had so far within this storm, and about 44,000 homes impacted with this. Just another in a series of maps that impacted Minnesota this past week. And I can say with confidence that no storms will be impacting Minnesota today. Things will be pushing off a little bit to the east as we have the big old storm system wrapping up. This was what we had for that derecho yesterday. And with that, we zoom in here into Oklahoma, have just pretty much some showers just pretty consistently forming here. I think this is killing Tulsa's chances for severe weather today. But this will trigger some more intense storms this afternoon across Oklahoma, and there's other areas at risk as well. We look at the temperatures across the country. It's 86 in Dallas, 74 in Kansas City. Pretty much where you see the orange on the map, that is where your severe weather chances are going to be today. And look at that, 72 degrees in Minneapolis, and your dew points are actually pretty low too, 51 degrees. So no severe weather for Minnesota today, no severe weather for Iowa today. It's all going to be Wisconsin down through the Mississippi River Valley into Oklahoma and even parts of Texas for later on today. So we're going to jump right into that future radar. We're going to start here in sections of the Great Lakes region where we have just kind of leftover boundaries from the crazy storms yesterday, and that's going to trigger some severe weather this afternoon. By this afternoon, I mean more like this evening. By 6 o'clock, a couple isolated storms will form here along the Mississippi River. From Davenport down to around the St. Louis area. Again, notice pretty isolated to start, and then very quickly things turn into more of a line. So within that hour here by 7 p.m., things get a little more clustered, a little bit more multicellular versus supercellular, and that will keep the hail sizes from having a much higher potential based on the available energy today. So it could keep hail size a little bit smaller. We'll see if things actually make it to St. Louis or make it to Davenport. We could see some storms kind of scattered about here, but I think overall the more significant hail risk may be a little bit further to the south. You can actually kind of see some storms over by Wichita, which we're going to talk about next here as we push down further to the south. We're going to have some storms form later on this evening. I have to push it all the way to about 9 o'clock. There we go. Got some storms forming. Biggest question mark for today is the activity happening right now. I think this might kill some during the day storms here in southern Oklahoma, but I think for the most part, pretty confident we'll see some storms form back up to the north here by Wichita with a very, very weak cold front sagging to the south. We'll have storms form by Wichita around 9 o'clock, and this will make their way towards Oklahoma City by about midnight. Could be a little bit of a noisy night here across Oklahoma City. And these could have some pretty decent hail with them, especially if they stay isolated. We could see some solid hail, and there's also a chance for some storms. I don't think this will be severe at all heading towards Dallas. I know you might be seeing this and getting excited, but overall, I think we're going to be seeing hail likely maintaining themselves at most to hen egg size, so 2 inches in diameter. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy today unless we have some crazy monster storm form on some kind of boundary or something, but the main area where that would have happened, we already have storms kind of ongoing. That's going to help minimize the really big hail potential for today. So today's hail forecast, oh, whoops, there we go. Almost got a double on C3 group on this one. 2 different areas we're looking at here. Again, these are some weird looking swaths for weird looking risks. So low chances. Any of these storms, when they first form, could have up to some golf ball size hail, but you pretty much got to have the storm form basically on top of you. So Davenport low, Madison low, St. Louis all low chances for storms, but if anything does happen, you could get up to that golf ball size. Further to the south here, I didn't really mention this too much, but we do have some storms streaming from north to south across the Mississippi River Delta. So Memphis, you have a moderate chance you will see maybe some quarter-size hail today. It looks pretty likely you're going to see some thunderstorms. And all the way down to Baton Rouge, you have a low chance for some storms. And then finally here, this is where the red shows up on the map. Any isolated storms that form could have up to maybe 2-inch hail with them. Here for Oklahoma City, even up towards Wichita. I probably should have brought this red all the way up to Wichita. It's looking more likely that you're going to see storms there. This could, again, this is super conditional. I think that moderate chance for quarters is definitely there, but I think it's a little bit lower for the bigger hail. So moderate for Wichita, Oklahoma City along the I-35 corridor. Joplin's a low chance. Tulsa's a low chance. I'd almost take this yellow and just kind of get rid of it up in here because we've had all that activity so far today. And the cloudiness and the rain really kind of killing that instability for any hail later on this evening. And then finally, way off down to the south here, if anything forms here in Texas, that's kind of the usual deal here. Could be some big hail, low chances overall, maybe a storm or 2 forms, but I think for the most part, pretty isolated. And if anything does form, could be some 2-inch hail with that as well, including the city of Midland, Texas. So most at-risk cities down a little bit here. I think Wichita and Oklahoma City have about equivalent risk. Same with Memphis. And then the lower chances here for St. Louis and Madison, just because storms pretty much have to form on top of you. And the models have really been kind of focusing on a very narrow corridor for storms, which are just west of St. Louis and pretty close to Madison. And then Tulsa, that really low chance there because of the fact that if you're in Tulsa right now, you see it's cloudy, it's been raining on and off. That's really going to kind of maintain itself through the afternoon. Doesn't look like anything is stopping those storms forming and kind of training over the same exact areas all afternoon today. And I do have a city forecast for Oklahoma City. Going to be a late one tonight. 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. is your best chance for storms. 2-inch hail is your maximum hail size potential. I got that moderate chance of 1 inch. And then low chance for golf balls or larger. It's not impossible, but we could see a couple storms if they stay isolated. You know, if, right, we could see some bigger hail with these storms. So again, that low chance of greater than golf balls, but that moderate chances for, we see some quarter-size hail somewhere in the metro today. A welcome return after it's been hot and dry the last week or so, feeling more like July than mid-May, which is peak storm season here in the Southern Plains. Looking ahead at tomorrow, I guess I'll stand over here because it is a pretty broad popcorn risk. All these little dots here, they're all potential for storms by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We could have a bunch more forming again, later in the afternoon. This is going to be one of those for us working here at HailTrace, we bring up a radar, map one little storm. We have like 7 or 8 radars open, all with one tiny little storm going on. So hopefully we're able to pinpoint, bring down a better area, better guess of the best areas for storms tomorrow. But it's looking like storms kind of pop up, and the best instability, the strongest updraft will have the biggest hail potential for tomorrow as things kind of pop up all over the place here across the Great Lakes, and kind of the same deal as we get towards Oklahoma and in sections of Tennessee as we have storms kind of streaming south here across the Nashville area around 6 o'clock. Even notice a couple storms forming up in northwestern Oklahoma and moving through northern Oklahoma by the evening hours, and then after the sun goes down, things die off pretty quick. This is pretty typical diurnally driven, so basically that means you have storms driven by the sunshine. So once the sun goes down, everything dies off pretty quick. So how does that bring into tomorrow's forecast? Well, it is a really broad one. I only have the yellow on there right now just because it is a little hard to pinpoint exactly where things are going to be most unstable. So I'm keeping it broad for now. We'll update this tomorrow, and it is a low chance across the board. I just highlighted some of the most populated cities in here. It's nothing crazy, no. It's just overall low chances. We'll update you more tomorrow with probably a forecast graphic or something tomorrow morning to really pinpoint better areas that we could see bigger hail. But everywhere from Oklahoma City to Nashville to Wichita, Indianapolis, Detroit, Minneapolis, all could see storms in your general vicinity tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at to start off your weekend. Sunday looks pretty similar to that as well. So make sure you follow us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, all at HailTrace, so we can go ahead and keep you up to date. We'll try to do live coverage when we can. We wanted to do some for the derecho yesterday. Unfortunately, I was in a meeting for most of it. And you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. Info at hailtrace.com is our email, or visit our website at hailtrace.com. Thanks for tuning in on this Friday, guys. Looks like storms are coming back, and we'll have more updates for you today, through the weekend, and into next week. Have a good one.